Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome to the latest Enlit Asia and Initiate series about young professional in Indonesian energy sector. This series, now we're going back to you again together with Energy Investment Management BV. Today we would like to discuss about sustainable island, particularly in Indonesia. And together with me now is a friend of mine, Gus Firman. Hey, Gus, how are you?
Good. Thank you, Adli. How are you doing?
Yeah, very well. I hope you stay healthy during this pandemic that getting out of control in Indonesia.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you very much. Right now I'm staying in Sumba, not as worse as in Java, actually, in of the COVID-19 pandemic issues. In Sumba, for now, still under control, but we hope we can get better soon.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that it's getting you're at least you're getting safe and healthy. Maybe Gus Firman, for starter, maybe you would like to tell us a little bit about your story. Where were you born? Where you grew up, and what do you study, and what motivates you to work in energy sector?
Okay, thank you, Adli. Good evening, everyone. Good evening from Sumba. Yeah, as Adli mentioned, my name is Firman. My full name is Gus Firman. Right now, I am working with Yayasan Humanis and Inovasi Sosial. It is organization. It is national organizations affiliated with HIVOS, the Dutch non-government organizations. Right now, I'm working as field community and monitoring and evaluations of the Mentari program under the demonstration project strand, which is right now we are going to develop one small scale pilot project in Sumba, installed one PV system for one village, working with the rural off-grid community in Sumba. And also I'm working under the Sumba Iconic Island project, Sumba Iconic Island program, I mean. It is, what is it? National scale program managed by the Ministry of Energy in Indonesia. I was born and live in Jakarta. I'm a Jakartan citizen, but since I'm working with HIVOS, I moved to Sumba on 2016 to work under the Sumba Iconic Island project. To be honest, I don't have any technical background regarding renewable energy, but as my educational background is from the social studies, specialized on the community development and monitoring and evaluations of the development program and the stakeholders engagement. So my role, particularly, most of my time spent to work with the local partners, with the local government and community to set up and do the non-technical things to make sure that everything is ready before the installations of the renewable energy systems, and of course to handle the operation and maintenance and the capacity building of the community to make sure the O&M aspect is under control. Yeah, that's a bit about me.
You mentioned you don't have a technical background, but I know for sure you got a short-term Australia award, right?
Yes.
About renewable energy technology in Murdoch.
Yeah, that's very interesting for me. Since I moved to Sumba in 2016, I slowly began to learn about the energy issues, despite my expertise of the community development aspect. And of course, I slowly learned about the energy and of course, the issue of the energy access for rural communities who live far from the national grid, especially we live in the small and medium island, and and also learn a little bit about the culture and the social aspect in the community, in the off-grid community. And this is also motivate me to learn deeper and deeper to understand not just about the technical aspect, but also the non-technical aspect to develop the renewable energy access program in Eastern Indonesia at this moment. Yeah.
And I'm curious, not that it's uncommon, but I have two follow-up question here. The first one is, you're born and raised Jakarta. What motivates you to go east? I haven't heard that story. And the second one is, from social background. It's not that it's very uncommon, once again, but why you pick renewable energy in particular? So what's the story there?
Hello.
Yeah. Hello, Firman. Okay. Are you with me, Firman?
Hello.
Hello. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So should I repeat the question again?
Yes, please, because
okay.
So
there's
I lost my connection.
No problem. So there's two follow-up question here. Not that it's so uncommon, but you're born and raised in Jakarta. What motivates you to go east? And the second one is, you study social studies, but what motivates you to highly technical issue in renewable energy? What's the story there?
Yeah, as we know, Indonesia is a big country. It's an archipelagic country, a lot of island. And since I was born and live and grew up in Jakarta, what I've heard about the Eastern Indonesia mostly comes from the newspaper and televisions, from the media. And once there's one moment that on my previous office, I'm working with the people from the Eastern Indonesia, from the NTT province, and it's very interesting the way we interact, their accent, their values. It motivates me to move and go to the eastern part of my country to understand better, rather than just knowing it from the media, which is very full of bias, as you know. So it motivates me to move to the eastern part of Indonesia. And at that moment in 2016, HIVOS opened a position for a monitoring and evaluations officer for their Sumba Iconic Island program. So it fit with my expertise, despite the energy aspect, of course. So I take that opportunity and moved to Sumba. And and after that, in HIVOS, I met a lot of people with a very interesting knowledge, especially on the technical things. It also motivates me because from what I understand is to provide or to work with the community in terms of the energy aspect, providing energy with the community. What they need the most is just the electricity. They don't care most about the technical things.
Of course.
So what we learn about the energy access project is to build the renewable energy systems is very easy. There's a lot of people who have a competency, a lot of companies and institutions, and also a lot of funding to install and build the systems. But the questions is, who will be taking charge if the PLN is not, the utilities company is not there yet? So most of the the evaluations of why the energy provision program in the rural off-grid is not sustainable is because the community itself doesn't have any chance to learn, any chance to know how to handle the systems very well. They just the EPC, for example, has only very limited time to transfer their knowledge and to understand how to operate the systems. That's one thing for sure. The other things, of course, how to manage the operational expenditure, the OPEX, which is very high cost. And if we are not helping them to gain better knowledge to manage it, it tends to be not sustainable. So that's what I found that fit my expertise. Probably I just know a bit about the technical things, but I trying to fill the gap on the non-technical things of the renewable energy provision program in the off-grid area. Yeah.
Wonderful. I mean, I know for sure that talking about the sustainability of a project, it invite an expertise from multidisciplinary, right? Not only from technical, but
Right.
financial, from social, from every
Sure.
kind of person and expertise. So now you mentioned this a little bit about you're working on two projects at the moment, Mentari and Sumba Iconic Island. Maybe you also briefly discussed that what makes it unique, that the OPEX itself, how to maintain that, and people doesn't really care about the technical. Maybe you can talk to us a little bit about these two projects. What I believe most of our audience already hear of it, but maybe you can share a little bit about that.
Yeah. The Sumba Iconic Island is a multi-stakeholder initiative initiated 10 years ago, about 2010, 2011, driven by the Ministry of Energy, the Bappenas, the planning agency, and also HIVOS at the moment. And as you mentioned, the energy provisions for a rural community is a multi-sector is a multi-sector issues. It's not just from the technical point of view. There's a lot of things that have to consider. So the Sumba Iconic Island used the multi-actor approach, where efforts to involve various stakeholders in energy and non-energy sectors that contribute to development of renewable energy and environment in Sumba Island. So we invite not just the utilities company, but we also working with the provincial government, the national government, not just on the energy sector, but also on the financial sector, on the social sector, and also working with the private companies who are interested to invest in Sumba Island, to working together under the Sumba Iconic Island platform. 2010, if I'm not mistaken, my organizations conduct a kind of a research where at that time we found that the electrification ratio on this island is very, very low. On 2013, the electrification ratio is about 29%. It's very low. With the energy consumption per capita is only about 42 kilowatt hour. It's very small. Okay. It's very small, just enough just to, mostly they use it just for lighting purpose.
For comparison, typically high-end low-end developing countries energy consumption per capita is somewhere between 200 to 400 kilowatt hour per
It's only 42.
So this is very
42,
low.
Very low, 42 kilowatt hour at that time. And if we compare with the national average, for example, the national average is about 600 kilowatt hour per year, is only 42. So it's very small. And most of the energy comes from the fossil fuel power plant, which is most of
diesel engine
of our diesel. Okay. Only diesel generator. So it's very high cost,
indeed,
inefficient, and also the fuel must come from from outside of the island, right? We have to import the fuel to run the diesel.
Just adding the cost more expensive, right?
Yeah. And at the other hand, the renewable energy potential in this island is very is quite big and quite abundant. We have wind power potential, solar power for sure, hydropower, biomass, and biogas. And 20% of the people, Sumba is about 700 inhabitants. So 20% of them classified as a poor people. So that's the condition on 2013. So after a series of research and discussions with the government, we decide to initiate the Sumba Iconic Island program. After that, the Sumba Iconic Island program, working with the various stakeholders to create a roadmap how to make this island 100% electrification ratio. And the ultimate goal is all of the electricity, all of the power comes from the renewable energy, because based on the research, it's possible actually. But of course, there's a lot of challenge to do
ambitious,
it.
I have to say.
Ambitious, yeah. yeah. So we developed what we call RUPES. It's what is it? A general plan of Sumba Energy Provisions. 2012 and 2015, we developed the roadmap, and the expectations is by 2025 we reach the 100% renewable energy. Yeah, that's the goal. And at this moment, the electrification ratio has been increased. From my data last year, the electrification ratio right now is already about 75%.
Okay.
But the utility companies, what is it? The customers from the PLN companies only reach about 33%, and rest of it is non-PLN customers. So the customers serviced by the government, it's still lower than the independent, what is it, the household level provisions. Yeah, so there's the conditions right now, but yeah, it's better than before. And the what is it, the renewable energy mix has been increased by 20.9%. Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Feel free to continue.
Yeah.
The renewable energy mix.
So yeah, the renewable energy mix right now is about 20.9% from the total source of energy. It's big, good, but it's still far from the goals, right? Because the goals in 2025 we have to reach. We want to get 100% renewable energy, but right now the energy mix is still on 20.9%. So that's about the Sumba Iconic Island. It's multi-stakeholder initiative. Every institutions, every companies who wants to invest, who wants to work in Sumba, we are trying to, matchmaking the needs and the potential. And for the Mentari program, is very new. It's part of the way we help the Sumba Iconic Island reach their goal. Mentari program is the project funded by British Embassy in Jakarta. In Sumba, we want to demonstrate the rural off-grid program that highlight the way to manage the systems working together with the community through BUMDes, the village owned company, to manage the systems rather than leave it to the group of people not legalized or not working under formal institutions, to make sure that everything is standardized, to get a better support from the district government, provincial government, and the national government. under the Mentari, right now we are targeting to build one PV system for one village.
Are there any capacity in
Central
mind?
Tumba. What? Sorry?
Are there any capacity that you plan? How many the capacity?
Yeah, there's a lot of things that we have to consider when we decide to work with the community to install the renewable energy system for sure. At the beginning, we have to make sure that the community is ready and willing to work to cooperatives with us, and we have to set up the institutions at the first moment to make sure that everything is going well after the constructions process. So the capacity buildings is focusing on the institutionalize the management, and we also consider the gender and inclusivity issues on the energy sector. So we also provide community to learn about the gender aspect during the on the energy sector, and also for sure the capacity building on the technical things. We collaborate with the TVET institution here, Technical Vocational Education and Training Center in Sumba, to prepare the community to become an operator. And also with the EPC, we decided to make, mandatory things to assist the management team, the operator, at least for 3 years after the constructions. So the transfer knowledge is completely done after the after the EPC leave the community. The community is ready. So, and also because, you know, if we are not working with PLN, the tariff, we cannot set up the tariff by kilowatt hour, right? What we can do is to set up a sort of mechanism to get a monthly fee from the customer, from the household, to support the operational systems, right? But we understand that the contributions from the community probably not enough to cover all of the OPEX. So with BUMDES, we explored the potential to increase the source of income using the productive use of energy activity. And also we are planning to reach the village fund and support from the district government to cover all of the OPEX, to make sure that when the corrective maintenance happen, the community already have a sufficient fund to cover all of the expenditure. Because if we are not preparing it from the beginning, and when the batteries, for example, have to replace, the community for sure don't have sufficient fund Indeed. To cover. So yeah, that's what we do. So 1 year for the pre-installations. We targeted the installations by the end of this year, and starting right now, we are developing the BUMDES. We set up the BUMDES, and after the installations, we working together with the BUMDES to increase the capacity, to make sure all of the standard being followed, and working with the EPCs 3 years after the installations to make sure the handover process is going smooth. Hopefully, it will help the community to maximize the systems, to maximize the lifetime until the PLN or the utilities companies come to their place and expand their grid, for example. So that's what we do right now in Sumba, and that's what my role is to prepare the community to do the setup and working together with the local government.
And it's very serious planning, and I like the idea that you try to set up something that you can rely on instead of, previously we're talking about a lot of informality here. We don't know who we're talking about
Yes.
to handle of that. And I understand that's one of the reason why a lot of project turns out into dead end. Maybe now we're moving on. Firman, can you tell us, it's still on the way, but so far, I understand from Sumba Iconic Island, what is the things that you learned there and maybe can be replicated? You mentioned Indonesia got a lot of island, things that we can replicate to other island, or maybe things we shouldn't follow after we learn from Sumba. And what is your view in the future? Because we clearly cannot copy playbook from Europe, US, or China because we're archipelago country. So what is your view on this in the future?
Yeah, if you are Googling right now the electrification ratio of Indonesia, probably it's on 99.2% or 99.3%. It's almost 100%, right? But probably we will get stuck there. We are not really can achieve the 100% electrification ratio because this small number of community is very, probably I can say, extremely extremely hard to reach, right?
Understood.
They live scattered, they live on a small island, they live deeply in the forest, for example. It turns out a big challenge for the government to reach out them through the conventional way of grid expansions, right? So what I learned is the government also, with support and collaborations with non-government organization and private institutions, to set up an innovative way to reach out them. Because as we know, the grid expansion is not cheap, is quite expensive. While you know, for example, here there's a one village 5 kilometers away from the grid, and the number of the population is probably just 500 or about 100 of families who lives there. As you can imagine, probably the consumption of the energy is still is probably small and not
double digit,
high enough. Yeah, it's not high enough to cover the capex, right? So we have to find the innovative way to reach out them. And luckily, these 2 years, the government starts to think how to connect this last mile community with another way of work. Like, for example, right now, the utilities companies, PLN, start to consider decentralized system to build an isolated renewable energy systems to cover this small group of the communities. It's a good start.
Strategy.
Yeah, it's a good strategy. And also PLN also have a plan to replace their old diesel generator, replace it with a renewable energy system, probably PV or a biomass system. It's we are moving forward in a good on a good track right now, but it's still not enough. Yeah, because if we just rely on the government on the PLN strategy, probably the most this last mile community will get the electricity probably on the next 10 or 15 years.
Wow.
Ahead. So we have to also try to find a new and also an alternative way while we are also waiting the PLN to come, right? So government itself also developed another program to support this kind of community through the distribution of the solar home system is very small, probably about 15 to 25 watt peak, only to
Lighting, right?
lighting, and it's a good program. But as I mentioned before, just to distribute, just to install the system is very simple, it's very easy. But what we have to consider is the sustainability, because I've read some research that found that most of the communal PV systems in the remote area is being broken, right? After 1 or 2 years of the installations. The main problem is for sure they don't, the community or the management don't have opportunity to learn, opportunity to grow up first, to learn about how to manage, and the source of fund to cover all of the OPEX. They don't have sufficient fund at that moment. So that's also the another challenge. So what I learned working in Sumba is develop and install the system is not enough. We have to make sure that this community ready to manage, and probably they just manage the regular monitoring, but the preventive and corrective maintenance, we have to make sure that they have a network and link with the expert, and we hope that the expert stay in the island, because most of the
that's
time,
another story, right? It's very difficult.
Yeah, it's very difficult to find the engineer here in Sumba, for example. Yeah, most of the expert live not in the island, not in the remote area. They live in a city. They live in the bigger island. There's another challenge to connect them, right?
Yep.
So that's also another challenge that we have to tackle, to make sure that the knowledge, the expertise stay in the island even after the programs end, right? Even it's a government program or the NGO program or the private program. If it's off-grid project, that's the challenge. Manage the community, manage the technical thing. So yeah, that's what I learned, but I very optimistic that the renewable energy and microgrid is one of the solutions that we can explore to reach out the community who live very far from the grid, who live in the last mile place in this country. So that's what we learn, and it needs a lot of investment for sure.
Okay, for sure.
It needs a lot of a policy. What is it? Yeah, we need a regulation, supportive regulations and supportive policy to make sure that this will happen. Yeah, this happen. Yeah.
So, Firman, you talk a lot about that, and I'm glad that you're very optimistic. And I hope Mentari and Sumba Iconic Island program will be very successful and can be example for other solution in Indonesia. And thank you very much for having the conversation with us. I'm hoping you stay healthy and stay well.
Thank you, Adli. You too. Stay healthy and see ya.